But my point being is that, like, it's one thing to have consistent voice or consistent style, but especially when you're moving between such different genres, I think it's something that and the one concern that comes up is, like, I would like to see him show different shades of that style to apply that voice, his writing voice, his acting talents, and bring it to this particular story rather than bring the story to and shove it into his particular style of comedy. Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for checking out my channel again. My name's Dan4, and I'm just doing another quick update video because I feel like I didn't do quite a good enough job, honestly, with the trailer reaction video for the Outlaw Johnny Black. Again, a lot of my opinions haven't changed. I think the trailer was funny. I think there's a lot of good action in it, and I'm still excited to see the film, but I want to do a little bit of a deeper dive on it because I kind of just paused and played. And I know there's a lot of copyright drama going on YouTube right now. Not that it necessarily involves me or that my channel is big enough for it to really matter, but as a fellow creative, I also want to, give another creator his due and just respect the process. And frankly, I think there's just more to be taken from it and more to say that I didn't quite say in the first video. That being said, I'm gonna get right into it. As I said, I think there's a lot of good action in the film, or in the trailer, and I think my biggest concern was just that it felt very similar upon my first reaction, my first watching it. I think upon my first viewing of it that it seemed a little too similar to Black Dynamite. Again, there's a lot of jokes about Michael J. White being hot. If I looked like him, I'd have my shirt off in every freaking film I was into. But I felt like a lot of the cutaways that they used, or a lot of the gunplay, or the kind of stunts, they weren't varied, and so it kind of made the trailer feel. It was a very quick, fast-paced trailer, and all the cutaways, it just made it kind of seem bland. It was funny, it was engaging, but it didn't tell me a lot about what. It didn't distinguish this film from a typical either comedy or western. It kind of had too much going on. That being said, after watching Black Dynamite, I think there's still going to be plenty to be drawn from this movie, meaning I think there's plenty of entertainment value to be had. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff that's not shown in this trailer. It does its job. It got me interested. It let me know that the movie was coming out. But I think that it also did the film a disservice in trying to make it seem kind of, I wouldn't say one note, but approaching one note. I think that it's very hard to get a feel for the dynamics that are taking place in the film that I think are hinted at in the trailer if you're paying attention. But again, I've had to watch it several times at this point and still not quite sure what to expect other than Michael J. White doing his style of comedy and action, which I happen to enjoy, which again is why I'm excited to see it. But I think for a film that's doing that style of comedy, there could have been more to distinguish it. It's set in such a vastly different genre than Black Dynamite was. You could have done more to distinguish it in that way. I'm sure some people would disagree, but at the same time, I don't know. Like I said, it kind of seemed like I'm just very afraid that you're going to get Black Dynamite Part 2, and I don't think I would like to think that you're not going to get that. I think it's going to be somewhat different. I think there's a lot of the jokes, like I said, were kind of delivered in the same way, but again, that could be part of the trailer working on it, and that the one-liners that they chose and the performance, the sections of performance that they chose to display were, again, put right next to each other, just make it all seem kind of the same thing. And it seems like a smaller, lower budget film, which is great. It's not necessarily an issue, but you don't have this giant ensemble cast, and it strikes me as like, this compared to, say, like Django Unchained or any other Tarantino movie where you've got all this bombastic action to choose from. Stuff could be changing from scene to scene. This is probably going to be a much more straightforward story and a much straightforward film. And again, doesn't mean that it's going to be less entertaining, but I think that it's very it'll be an interesting exercise in comparing the trailer to the final product when it comes out later this month. That being said, I'd be curious to anybody else has seen the trailer, what you guys thought. Maybe I'm nuts, maybe I'm just being nitpicky, but I really, like I said, I appreciate Black Dynamite so much. I want to see Michael J. White, and I'm assuming some of the same crew, I'd like to see them stretch themselves. I'd like to see them bring that comedy to the genre, because I'm a big Western fan as well. And again, the story is pretty simple. It seems like a typical Western. There's oil coming through, oil is discovered on the property. Actually, it reminds me of the other trailer I seen for, was it the new Scorsese film, Flowers of the Blood Moon or something like that. Correct me down in the comments, but it's some new Western style movie from Scorsese coming out later this year, produced by Apple TV, I believe. But it has a similar story. There's Native Americans that discover oil on their land. There's a rush to take over the land. People are murdering everybody, and that's kind of the same plot. Obviously, this is a much different film, but it's kind of the same basic plot that you're going to see in here. And Westerns are known for having, being fairly repetitive with their stories, but it's all in the style and execution that distinguishes one from another and one creator from another. So again, I'm still very much looking forward to seeing this film, seeing what Michael Jai White does with the genre. I'd be curious to see any behind the scenes interviews or anything I can find on it. And again, I'd be very curious to do a compare and contrast with Black Dynamite and his other work to see what kind of to see where he's taking his craft, not to be too pretentious, I guess. Anyway, so like I said, I just want to dig in a little bit more, offer a little bit more of an analysis, as opposed to that was truly a reaction. It was like my first time seeing the trailer. I watched it again just now before doing this video. I, again, think there's plenty to be drawn from it. I got a little bit more out of it this time, but like I said, I think a lot of the style of editing for the trailer just kind of washed out some of the actual highlights that I think might be in the film. I would like to see a little bit more background. It's fine if Michael Jai White's going to do similar things and similar comedy. I think he's a fine performer. I think there's going to be an interesting performance in this comedy, but at the same time, again, a lot of the jokes, a lot of the notes that it hit were very similar to Black Dynamite, and it's great to sell him because again, I know that they want to, a lot of trailers aim to either A, tell you everything that's going to happen in the film. I don't think that's a problem here because, again, basic plot. I don't think there's going to be a ton of surprising plot twists that if you're a cinema fan, if you're a Western fan, you're going to see probably a lot of it coming. That's fine. That's not what we're here for. We're here for the jokes. We're here for the entertainment, the pure entertainment value. And I think you're definitely going to get that. But I think they're also trying to, they want to give the audience a sense that they know what they're going to get. I personally don't. I think you want to have a trailer that gives you the tone and the atmosphere of the film so that you're not totally shocked. Again, you don't want to like cut Schindler's List as a comedy, right? As a broad example. But at the same time, I think there's plenty of subtleties that you can draw out, and I don't necessarily. What I'm thinking is that they're trying to sell you on the fact that it's Black Dynamite. It's going to be a similar film as Black Dynamite, and I think that's a mistake because then, again, if you're somebody who likes Black Dynamite, like me, you're going to, oh, I'd like that. I'm going to go see it again. That's fine. That's going to bring in a certain amount of audience. But I think if you want to bring in a wider audience, you could separate it a little bit more stylistically. And I'm hoping at least that there's enough in this film that you could have done that. So I'm very curious and very excited to see what comes out. So again, I just want to take a moment to clarify my point that there's definitely a difference between consistent style of a performer or a director or a writer. Again, having your voice, your own distinctive voice, is certainly something that can be celebrated, that is fine to have between films. Again, Scorsese makes you know what a Scorsese film is. He has a certain style, he has a certain tone, you know pretty much what to expect from. Tarantino has his style. A Stanley Kubrick film, you know what to expect generally out of that. It's a more modern example, a Nolan film, right? Everyone criticizes or celebrates Nolan for his various consistencies in style. However, there's also the other aspect of this, the downside, and what came to mind since we're talking about comedies is the early 2000s were a comedy boom, right? You had Will Smith, you had Josh Heater, and the whole Napoleon Dynamite phenomenon. You end up with these kind of wash, rinse, repeat films, or comedies, this stylistic consistency that actually does a disservice to the performer, because you're not really, it's almost like getting typecast, right? You're seeing the same type of jokes from the same performer over and over and over again, and you start to realize like you're not really getting a different film. You might go see a Tarantino film and know what to expect, but you're not really going to see the same movie. And a lot of creatives run into this, right? A lot of people complain when their favorite band changes up their sound. The example my dad always uses, when Bob Dylan picked up the electric guitar, people rebelled, where they were up in arms over it. I wasn't there, I can't speak to it from firsthand experience. But my point being is that, like, it's one thing to have a consistent voice or consistent style, but especially when you're moving between such different genres, I think it's something that and the one concern that comes up is, like, I would like to see him show different shades of that style to apply that voice, his writing voice, his acting talents, and bring it to this particular story, rather than bring the story to and shove it into his particular style of comedy. That being said, that's not to say that style of comedy can't be applied across several genres or several different styles of film. That's the question that we're waiting to have answered, right, when the film comes out. Again, I think there's a lot not being shown in the trailer. I think the trailer is cherry picking, obviously, moments, and like I said, I think it wants to sell you on the fact that this is the guy from Black Dynamite. They're probably going to get a lot of this similar humor. That's fine, but I hope it's distinguished and different enough to kind of open up. And again, because I enjoy these, and or at least have enjoyed Black Dynamite, if I enjoy this one as much, I would want to see him, have a fruitful and varied career, rather than just seeing him pull out the same kind of tricks every time, because it's gonna get old. Like, again, you can tell the same joke, and it might work for a while, and it might even be successful, but I don't think artistically it would be that fruitful. And somewhere in the back of my head, I have that he worked really hard to get Black Dynamite off the ground, that he's worked hard to kind of carve out this space for himself in Hollywood. So again, to put all that work in, to throw it away on the same kind of set of jokes, same style of humor is fine, but the same kind of jokes over and over again are just going to get old. Comedy's not as funny the second time around. That being said, we'll see if he can pull it off. So the film's coming out September 15th, 2023. My mistake, it's not later this month. I should have checked my facts beforehand. So September 15th, we'll see what there is to see. We'll see what Michael Jai White brings to the table. Again, I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are as well. If you have any other opinions, comments, questions, concerns, drop them in the comment section. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for checking it out. See you next time. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz.